We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday.
So welcome to 3 Shall Overcome 2024, part 3, or as we like to call it, try harder. This is this is us at the top of, well, about to enter what is the best part of the Jurassic part of the journey, which I can't show you because we've got a new gadget that recognises faces. And I've just realised there aren't any faces in the view over there. So all it's going to do is try and find us again. You know, in terms of directing a video, I've got a long way to go. I am to video direction what I am to broadcasting, essentially. But not to worry. Anyway, there's Kev, there's Steve, and there's me. And we're going to start talking about stuff. And I won't edit that bit out because it's funny.
We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace.
The big story at the moment, and you can't avoid it, and to avoid it will be being complicit in it. It's the situation in Gaza, and we kind of got to get this out the way, guys, I think. So I'll be the first to admit my Middle Eastern history as a washing machine engineer from Scarborough. It's not, you know, quite what my working class British history is. So who's going to start this one off?
Well, on behalf of the washing machine engineers of Scarborough, can we just acknowledge that there is a genocide happening in the Middle East under our noses, and we can't be silent about it. And we need to note government and the opposition's failure to act, even when a ceasefire was an obvious thing to call for.
That's a good start.
It is. Tens of thousands of people are dead and are dying.
Yeah.
And we need to say stop.
It is. It's obviously a subject that I get my fingers burned, and I hate to even look that way because of what's happened to me in the past overall. But at the same time, just from a purely humanitarian point of view, from a socialist point of view, you cannot see suffering and not want to end that suffering, you know. And it's kids, for God's sake, you know. Kids have a right, whether the, you know, Israeli kids or whether the Palestinian kids or kids anywhere around the world have a right to live in a world that's not trying to take their life away for being who they are. And that it just breaks my heart. But as I say, I'm not an analyst. I don't know enough to start pontificating online about it all. All I see is a situation that pains me and that I desperately want to help. And really been able to do is chuck a bit of money at medical aid for Palestinians from the gigs and things, and from here, that's all I can do.
But then in any situation like this, you do what you can do, don't
Yeah.
you? And as much as anything, if all we're doing is we keep talking about it, we keep talking about this thing that is under our noses, but you know, the internet teaches us that we can learn about what's going on anywhere else in the world, but also that we can look away.
Yeah.
The important thing is to not look away.
Yeah, I will concur with that.
Exactly.
You're with that as well, are you, Kev?
Yeah, I'm happy about not looking. I mean, I've got no idea about the Middle Eastern politics. I wouldn't, same as yourself, I wouldn't nail the colours, and I wouldn't say I know this, that, and other, because I don't know any of the facts really. But I know enough that my government, for instance, living here, they should be doing something to prevent, civilians, innocent civilians, women and children, suffering as they are.
Yeah.
Surely I'm allowed to expect that.
Well, I think
ceasefire at the very least, and condemnation of things like hospitals getting attacked. Surely that's not a lot to ask, and it's not putting me on one side or the other. It's just making me a humanitarian.
yeah, and I think this is where I come from. Death and destruction, no matter who causes it, it's just an appalling thing. And the politics of it all mixes it up, because you end up in the situation of who started what, when, and you said, and they said, and all of that goes back so many years that it's impossible to be an expert on it as a working class bloke,
But there's a point at which it becomes reductive, doesn't it? I mean, if you want to have an analysis and you keep getting as far back as the Ottoman Empire and confusing yourself,
Yeah,
then it's like blaming gravity for the fact that you fell and hurt yourself.
And not having enough information on the political situation is not enough of an excuse not to feel compassion on the humanitarian situation. Hello.
Oh, yeah.
So you're not going to absolve yourself of any responsibility or any kind of sense of needing to want to do something just because you don't understand the political situation. I grasp that. It's kind of why I wanted to have this conversation, because so many people are struggling to put a cohesive position together, and I've seen people flip-flopping all over. I've seen people taking some really extremist positions that really, let's stop here and try and get our faces in with that view behind us, because it is a beautiful view, there we go.
It's not quite as Jurassic as me, but
There'll be a dinosaur somewhere that disagrees with that, Ken. And they've got every right to disagree. No, I'm not going to go that far, You're not absolving yourself of the responsibility to feel something for a fellow human being who's in a situation where they must feel abandoned by the entire, well, certainly the Western world, because when you see a government just sort of like standing back and there's nothing to see here, sort of thing, it's very difficult, isn't it?
Well, it's important to address that lack of abandonment, because we need to distinguish between being abandoned by the governments of the Western world and being abandoned by the workers of the Western world.
Yeah.
And that's why we're talking about it. Well, we need to talk about it, and we need to keep talking about it. We need to keep sharing our fear for what's happening to the people of Gaza and Palestine more broadly. We need to not shut up, and we need to not go away.
No, that makes perfect sense, like we discussed before we switched the camera on, and like I alluded to earlier, it's an awkward subject to broach on so many different levels, and it's a painful subject to put yourself through watching, but you can't look away. And if we hadn't have spoken about this today, we would be guilty of the same level of complicity in what's going on as Western governments are. It had to be touched upon. What?
Well, I've had a discussion outside of us three. I've had a discussion through work with someone who said that if in the West we show too much care and compassion to one side, i.e. the Palestinians, we're kind of supporting terrorism. But to my mind, the abandonment, that's what terrorists feed off. They're going to feed off that abandonment. they can use that anyway. Do you know what I mean? Terrorist organisations can use that, can't they? Do you know, to say to people, to get more people on board, to get more radicalising more people, because the sort of stuff we're seeing in Gaza, for instance, not just the hospitals being attacked and things like that, but the aid being cut off, water being cut off, stuff like that, not being allowed, you know, Palestinian people not being allowed to get to the same facilities that other people can get to. What is that going to do? That is just giving terrorists more ammunition, for want of a better word, to my mind anyway.
Well, yeah, and some of this is about the fact that history doesn't start on October the 7th, as horrific as those attacks were, and we should rightly condemn them. You know, Hamas doesn't come to power in a vacuum. You know, the environment exists whereby Hamas comes to be.
Yeah. And by speaking the way we are, we don't support a group like Hamas in any way either.
Oh God, no!
No, this is about solidarity with the Palestinian people, not
Exactly,
with Hamas.
ordinary people like ourselves,
Absolutely.
human beings, because we're humanitarians. The same, like you say, on October 7th when they went in and you know, attacked ordinary people in Israel. That were awful. That, you know, I felt that's not right.
I always distill it back down to, I know it sounds glib, but I distill it back down to washing machine engineers, because it's the only reference I can really get. I'm not you know, that educated, you know, but a Palestinian washing machine engineer's got every right to go to work safely as an Israeli washing machine engineer, as just the same as I am. They should all be able to coexist and go to work without fear of being attacked. And any sort of situation whereby that isn't possible is wrong, and you can't condone it. You know, people have the right to live in peace. People have the right to live without fear of losing their life, existing from day to day. And when you see and read some of the stuff going off, it's appalling. But you're quite right. I see people taking polarised positions like they do on every other subject on the internet, and that frightens me. I absolutely loathe the day-to-day culture war stuff, and this has become a part of that. Over in Belfast recently, and you know, there's always been a divide between the Republican and the Loyalist communities with the over Israel and Palestine, but it's to the nth degree at the moment. And
The thing is, Joe, you as a British washing machine engineer, you've got as much compassion for an Israeli washing machine engineer as you have the Palestinian one. As far as you're concerned, all three of you should be able to rant at people for not reading labels properly and not cleaning their filters out.
Hey,
Not doing their hot work.
I tell you what, I don't care what language anybody speaks. The international language of clean your fucking filter. Well, hopefully, covered that subject in a good enough way. It does kind of lead me on to the sort of levels of misinformation that you see. That scares me. But yeah, I mean, you get that on every single subject there is, and that's why you're conscious of the fact that you might be sat in the centre of an echo chamber getting bombarded with stuff from one side and not seeing it all. So you start reading at the other side and realise that, you know, one person's facts is another man's lie, and that just keeps going on and on and on.
Well, yes and no. There is such a thing as the objective truth. You know, that's why it's important you check your sources.
Donald Trump don't think so.
Well, if that makes us diametrically opposed in a completely non-binary and analytical way, then so be it. But yes, well, that's you know, this world where everything is binary and the rise of the populist. You know, that's no accident, is it?
He don't want to look at me. Does now.
Yeah. It just stops it wobbling about. It's not actually going to follow your face.
Okay. I don't want. I really don't want it to, because it makes me paranoid.
Should we use the other stick?
I think so. But being spontaneously funny doesn't involve falling 900 feet to your
The things I do for your film.
That is definitely taking one for a team, isn't it? No one's diving off cliff.
2.5 shall overcome. Anyway, yeah.
In technology, great.
What it's going to sound like when I play it. And it's decided to start recording again.
Is it?
So it's picking us up.
How's your phone doing that?
I don't know. Because nobody's touched it, has it?
Before I've done my hair and all.
Yeah, that is.
Is it working, do you think?
Old guys in technology.
Is it working? Oh dear. Right, so which one of us feels like being spontaneously amusing, just like we are when the camera's off, but with the camera on, the added pressure of how do we do it?
Oh, I nearly fell off the cliff. Was that?
No, it's not spontaneously funny enough for you. Right, so yeah, we're heading towards Ravenscar now, and we didn't want to appear too downbeat and miserable on this walk, because it's a difficult place for the left at the moment. There's not that much to sing and dance about, but you know, there's always hope in the world, and if you lose sight of that, then you know, there is no way back from there. So we want it to be spontaneously amusing and funny, and we failed miserably, apart from Steve almost falling off the cliff whilst we were trying to get him in camera shot.
Genuinely spontaneous.
Yep, absolutely. There were no ropes or anything. But yeah, do you know what? That the BBC have let us down again here. I checked the weather website. The weather website said this afternoon will be sunny and 15 degrees. We're lucky if it's half that out here. We had a brief moment earlier on where it got warm enough for Kev to take his scarf off. but apart from that, it's chuffing nithering up here, like.
Quite stoically, he hasn't put it back on again.
No, this is it.
Once you've made a decision, you have to stick with it.
Well, this is it. You don't want to look like you're flip-flopping around, do you?
I'm just showing a manly side of myself.
Oh, well, that's good
Owen
to know,
Jones would
Kev.
put his scarf back on.
Owen Jones, he would have put his scarf back on. He would have done. And in fact, he would have probably told us that he'd never taken his scarf off.
And then taking it off.
And then taken it off again. Yeah.
Maybe an half and half scarf.
Ooh, earlier you did hit us with the most controversial statement of the day. You said, what was the exact quote? There is no bigger problem in the world today than the half and half scarf or something.
Destroying the planet, I said.
That's right. Nothing's destroying the planet more than the half and half scarf.
Nothing more needlessly manufactured than an half and half scarf.
Oh, I'm going to get myself an Owen Jones, Jeremy Corbyn half and half scarf now.
Ooh. Hello there.
Oh, yeah.
Hiya. I know which half of that scarf would keep you warm. It was a big brash and bold statement from Kev to suggest that the planet was on the brink of destruction because of the half and half scarf. But there is a serious point to be argued there about fast fashion. But this is the amusing part of the journey, and we can't make that point. So can we think of something else to talk about?
No, I'm fixed on that now.
Oh shit! So okay, where are you going next with the half and half scarf thing?
Well, just so much as you know, we need a scapegoat when things are going badly wrong. and it's perfect.
Okay. So is the half and half scarf responsible for sort of, I don't know, dinghies leaving the shores of France, for instance?
Well, do Reform UK voters have half and half Tice Farage scarves?
Ooh, I wonder. No, actually, I don't wonder. I don't care. But possibly.
Or does Richard Tice just have a Nigel Farage scarf?
Again, I don't care.
Maybe a cravat though.
A half and half cravat.
Yeah.
Ooh. Anyway, instead of a vuvuzela, you have like a pipe.
Well, it's more their sort of thing, isn't it? You know?
Well, I don't know. I think that, you know, that's just typical racist stereotyping.
No one in a half and half scarf is going to stop the boats.
What? Not even if they tied them all together and make like a big wall around the south of England. You know?
I think Pretty Patel had an idea a bit like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some kind of physical barrier. That and a wave machine. Seriously.
Well, so Pretty Patel imagined that she could make a wave machine strong enough to overcome the ocean current.
She'd seen the data, you know.
If she'd seen the data,
there were more boats in fine weather, so if we could just create more waves to discourage them.
We'll go back.
If everybody who'd posted something with the hashtag Stop the Boats actually took the time to get physically involved, get themselves down onto a beach in the south of England and blew hard enough.
Some BNP pool noodles or something.
And that must surely turn back the tide of immigration.
If they all just jumped at the same time.
Well, they'd think it was a lot warmer over here with hot air, wouldn't they?
Or we could simply create a safe rite of passage in an embassy, either within or in the next safest country to the one they were fleeing. Well, that might help.
Bearing in mind that most of their asylum claims are actually granted in the end.
Yeah.
Just a safe way of getting here might be nice.
The danger of statistics that nobody can back up is prevalent everywhere, because everybody quotes them at you from the internet to the pub. 84% of everybody ever thinks the same way I do. Right?
Yeah.
No, which is an overwhelming majority. I'll have another.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that. And then when you make up some statistics of your own, you're back with, but you can prove anything with statistics.
The Weatherspoons data group.
Yep. But the last time I looked, and I did look, I do check this shit before I share it, it was 79 point something % of all asylum claims turn out to be, proper.
Yes.
Yep. So, and that's difficult to say that if you applied that data to a dinghy that had just collapsed and people had drowned, then only 1 in 5 of those wasn't entitled to enter this country perfectly legally. To laugh at that is quite, it's statistics, innit? We're at the approach to Ravenscar, and I bet the cafe's shut again. But I promise you that cafe, when it's open, there's a grand cheese scone.
Disgusting.
I know, I promise you, every year it's shut because it's a Tuesday. It was open yesterday, I know it was, but I bet it's shut today. But I guarantee you, although you can't eat a cheese scone.
No, I can, I just refuse to.
Oh, right, okay.
And I wouldn't anyway, because I don't like cheese, so...
Oh, for God's sake!
Look, I've told you before.
Come on, solidarity with the cows.
I know you've told me before, but we're just leading inevitably back to the mini cheddars argument.
In one trip.
Just
are other scones available?
Probably, I don't know, I only wanted a cheese one. I didn't say you know, my fussy mates are coming along because they're like woke, lefty, liberal twats and they want a different type of scone. And do you have any other ones on? Do you have a quinoa scone? Or do you have an herbal essence of tea tree and fucking lavender oil scone or something with some sprinkly shitty nuts on the top that nobody's ever heard of? I didn't ask you to go one of them.
If this place is open, I'm 100% ordering the most middle class thing on the menu.
Well, I'm having a cheese scone.
Why do they smash avocados, incidentally?
Why did what?
Why do they smash avocados?
Pot smashing, isn't it?
They smash avocados, why?
What's an avocado?
I've seen it on all these gentrified cafes. These places what used to be great to go to in Sheffield, though, what are all gentrified now.
Alright, yeah.
Where you could get a decent sandwich, but now you have to have eggs Benedict or smashed avocado or something.
It used to be great to go to when you could get a cup of coffee that tasted like dishwater and a cheese sarnie that if you held it up would sag at 90 degrees. That's a proper sarnie.
I'm just looking forward to Cadbury Smash Avocado. The green powder that you just add hot water to.
Oh mate, that was the best potato in the world. I don't care what anybody says. We could go that way, we could go that way. Let's go this way, it's grassy, isn't it?
Is it not open? Is that it? On corner?
It is on corner, but it's not open.
No, I don't look it, does it?
No. The I know we fall out of them in cheddars every year, right? But smashed potato in a packet, that is food of the gods. I don't care what anybody says.
Does it still exist?
Yeah. You can get a cheesy variety. You can get one with that oniony stuff in it. Honestly, empty the kettle into that. That's better than proper potatoes. It's like an evolution of potatoes.
Better than proper potatoes.
What?
I might never speak to you again.
It's the potatoes, the way that God intended them, in tiny cubes that you add hot water to and stir with a knob of margarine. Honestly, you two are Philistines with your crushed avocado, quinoa, fucking scones.
This is what happens when you eat too many mini cheddars.
No, this is just, I don't know, it's fussy eaters. No, so on a no, I ain't gone on a serious note. The gentrification of Sheffield, Kev, does that bother you?
Well, it does.
Does it?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Oh, Owen, what do you think about the gentrification of Sheffield?
No, it don't bother me. Don't bother me. I just sort of roll my eyes and sigh every time I go in somewhere, and it's the same shit what's served up.
It's this gentrification thing. The first pint I bought in 1986 cost me 84 pence, right? If you go into any of these la-di-da pubs now, it'll cost you £5 or £6 for the same pint. It's just la-di-da gentrification.
Is it because Russ has moved there?
Do you think that's it?
I think so.
He's
doubled the number of banjos.
I tell you what. You could also get a game of pool for 10p, and I bet you can't get one for anything less than £2 now, can you? And I bet it only takes £2. I bet it only takes a card.
Pool, bloody American crap.
Oh, I bet if you want a game of pool now, you have to have it linked up to PayPal. God Almighty. I don't like this gentrification, mate. Keep it smelly and unhealthy and proper.
So how are you distinguishing between gentrification and progress?
Well, progress is gentrification that don't charge you a tenner for a pint.
Exactly.
And that is class analysis. It's been by far and away the hardest year so far, but then, as I was saying to Steve a second ago, Kev, it's not going to get any easier.
No.
We'll have good years and bad, but it's still done with the power of good, because there's no doubt about it. Just constantly having to organise tours and constantly having to be on top of all the day-to-day bits and bats of the music side of things, as well as, you know, trying to
trying to fundraise as well as trying to do a full-time job on that. It's really taking its toll on me, and it's like, this is like catharsis, burn off a bit of energy. But I think it is good for your mental health to do this. I do feel a lot better than I did when we started.
Yeah. Well, particularly the organising gigs and tours and recording, and sometimes that is just a bit like wading through treacle.
Oh yeah.
And you feel like you're constantly fighting just to stay still.
Yeah, you are in effect, aren't you? You know, you just, and with the atmosphere being the way it is in the country, you're putting yourself in the wrong venue on the wrong night. It could be dangerous, you know what I mean? But then the opposite of that is preaching to the choir, isn't it?
Yeah.
And while I always maintain that you're never preaching to the choir, you're re-energising the choir. That's your role.
Yes. Well, you're letting them know that they're not alone.
Yeah, and
that's what I was just going to say. The choir, as you say, it's not just about getting the message across anyway, because they're all there for it. It's about the good it does when you go out. You know, these events we do, all WSO events, they help every individual who attend them. Obviously, end game is to get money for people like Pauline to do her incredible work. But it ain't just about helping people who need food or help or shelter, is it? It's helping themselves as well. WSO for me has been brilliant like that. On Sunday, when I was travelling to Barnsley, I got some bad news about a mate. His cancer's returned. He's a good lad, he'll fight, he's like that. And he just sent me a message to tell me, because he didn't want me to find out any other way. I almost turned car around because I just pulled up. And I just thought, I don't want to do it, you know. But I thought, no, he wouldn't want that anyway. So I went. And it did my, you know, I went from that level of this really upsetting news to the way I felt at end at night. Do you know what I mean? It's incredibly uplifting. It ain't just music, because I like music, yeah. It ain't just that. It ain't just hearing messages that you like to hear. It's the fact that you go in there and there's one or two you haven't seen for a while. You have a hug, you have a chat. It's just, and then the music starts. And the range of artists, for instance, the other day, that's something else that you do good when you're, you know, WSO, when you organise these events. The range and the spectrum, if you like, it ain't all just shouty stuff at you, is it? So you come away, you know, I mean, I like I said, I almost turned around and went home. And yeah, I went home after 11, and I felt, you know, I could have walked home. Felt brilliant.
And I think there's a point from the stage where you realise that the looks on people's faces have changed. That singing songs for them and getting them involved in singing them back, you're giving them hope, and it's a really beautiful thing. I'd sooner see the look from the stage, look out across at the audience and see that look in people's eyes than I would shift a load of CDs at the end of the night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The money means nothing to that. That's just such an amazing feeling, and I think we really underestimate the power of what music does, and music in general does that, but music with a message.
Yeah.
When people are absolutely on their knees or flat out because the Welsh just keep lashing them, and which we've seen over the last couple of years. I think that music's got a really vital role to play in that, not just for fundraising, but in raising people's spirits and keeping them going.
Not harping on about Sunday too much, but they were music, so people were singing. Yeah, they joined in singing. There were a bit of dancing, not by me, obviously. There were a bit of dancing, weren't there? But there's a lot of laughter. There's a hell of a lot of laughter at them gigs we do, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? Whether it's Chip, you know, giving us some of that Cockney spiel from front, which always, you know, we have a laugh, or it's just people, like I said, you haven't seen for ages, so you have a bit of a hug and a chat, and then you start having a laugh. You look round. I was looking round when I was sort of stood at back with a drink, and I was looking round, and people are laughing. A lot of people laughing. And that's important.
Yeah. Well, there's that thing, and you know, that question that goes round and round about, can music change the world? Or maybe not, but it can make people think that they can.
Yeah.
You know, and that sense of community, that sense of solidarity, that really you can only achieve with live music, with the recorded version just reminding you of what it was like to see it live and be part of it live. That is uplifting in a way that can change people into people that can change the world.
Yeah. You're a catalyst for something else. and without it, the reaction don't go off. People, I think one of the greatest things that I've learned over all them years of doing music and in industry sense, banging my head against a brick wall, but I know I'm not. What I've realised is what the role is. It's not giving up. It's absolutely understanding what your purpose is as a musician, what your purpose is as a human being, and being able to go out and do that every night is just brilliant. Because I'm not on that stage thinking, oh, I hope somebody buys a CD, I hope somebody buys a T-shirt. You know, I'm on that stage knowing exactly what I'm on that stage for, and it's a really, really powerful feeling. You know, I think people really need to respect what a microphone is for and respect what a stage is for. You know, there's obviously a bit of theatre to it, there is a performance to it, but you've got the loudest voice in the room, and to use it to say nothing. It is a travesty to me. I think you need to respect the power of that and respect the responsibility that goes with that, and really put it to some positive use.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to have a laugh as well.
I always do. I'm just going to yeah, that's one of the things I absolutely insist on. I'm not going to stand there and go, well, you know.
Well, people have asked me about these gigs, what I've got to do, you know, and they've said, I think they just assume it's all political speech, and that's it. And you know, like I said on Sunday, the laughter, looking round at the laughter, there's a lot, we always have a laugh, don't we?
Yeah,
and then I mean, you know, the incident what happened Sunday, for instance, how that was dealt with. We've never had any trouble, have we, at any May Day rally? Okay, something happened. But the way it was dealt with, in a positive way, in a humorous way, it was superb.
Yeah, and to fill anybody in who wasn't there, we had somebody who gate crashed the party and wanted to cause a bit of trouble, and it stopped the show for a little while. Just a few minutes, and it was getting a bit tense. And for me, out of that moment there, where you could have lost the mood in the room, came the day's greatest moment when Paul, the frontman for the Wakes, just started playing Erasure's Respect, and everybody piled to the front with these great big grins on their faces, singing along. The kid no longer had any oxygen, won't get any attention anymore. And unexpectedly, this 80s pop hit has rescued this political event. But the power of those chords, you know, the power in people's eyes. It's a fun song, and we're going to have fun, and we don't care. That you know, you're not owning this room. You're not taking this away from us, and it was a beautiful thing. And I'll never forget that. I think for me that was one of the greatest things I've seen come from stage. Paul just switching a gig like that. The mood just went. It was just incredible. And I messaged him saying, you know, really appreciate what you did. It was a really poignant moment what you did there, and I'm really sorry that your gig got interrupted by somebody who's wanting to kick off. And he sent me a message back, mate, we're from Glasgow.
Well, there was a message there as well. Anybody who wants to come and make trouble at our things, we're going to erase you.
Oh, mate, nice.
Sorry.
So, with the battle up the hill from Boggle Hall away to Robin Hood's Bay, and we're finished for another year. And I've loved it, lads, and I do. My feet hurt, but I really do think this is good for the soul, and I think it's an important thing to do. And if we've raised a few quid and made people giggle along the way, then that's fantastic too. But yeah, thanks everybody. We will see you for Try Hard 4.
Just please donate for our sister Pauline. Please donate if you can.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ta-da.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I believe that we shall.
Rachel Reeves yesterday accused the government of gaslighting working people over the economy. Fucking hell, Mrs. Kettle. I mean,